According to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is OJ Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, "I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses," or treat. In his book, OJ Simpson says that he would have taken a bullet or stood in front of a train for Nicole. Man, I'm going to tell you, that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's probably... You don't get worse luck than that. It was revealed today that OJ Simpson told police that Nicole Brown Simpson used to beat him up. He also claimed that she and Ron Goldman killed him. Well, let's get to OJ. OJ Simpson's lawyers say they don't want the families of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman in the courtroom during the trial. They're afraid the presence of the family members will just remind OJ of how much more killing he still has to do. It was revealed this week that defense lawyer Johnny Cochran once abused his first wife. In his defense, Cochran said, "Hey, at least I didn't kill her like some people I know." To illustrate the point that their client is running out of money to defend himself, O.J. Simpson's lawyer said this week that if he had to do it over again, after killing his victims, O.J. would now rob them as well. That one you find troubling? And O.J. pal Al Cowling said this week that in looking for the truth in the O.J. Simpson case, he sometimes talks to a picture of Nicole Brown Simpson, something that in the past would have gotten him killed by O.J. After grisly photos of the murdered Nicole Brown Simpson were shown in court, O.J. turned his head away and wept. It was at that moment that he realized he would never be able to kill her again.
One of my favorite Norm jokes of all time was an OJ joke. And the picture comes up, and it's that picture of Johnny Cochran at the trial, and OJ is seated next to him, and Johnny Cochran's holding up the knit cap that was found at the scene.
Testimony during the final week provided some spellbinding moments. In a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran put on the knit cap prosecutors say OJ wore the night he committed the murders. Although OJ may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat."
Things got off the rails a little bit when O.J. Simpson interrupted him and said, hey, careful with that. That's my lucky stabbing cap. And I remember that joke came through the TV and slapped me in the face. It was so good.
Yeah.
Well, the trial of the century is over. Late yesterday, the fate of O.J. Simpson, the most famous murder suspect in United States history, was placed in the hands of the jurors. They must now decide whether to free him or get all their heads cut off.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty.
Thanks, I'm Norm Macdonald, and now the fake news. Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California. In Los Angeles this week, Lyle and Eric Menendez were found guilty of first-degree murder. So, to review California law, it is killing your wife, legal. Killing your parents, illegal. 2 hours after the verdict, L.A. police had their first solid lead in the hunt for the real killers. A new witness has come forward who saw 3 men fleeing the crime scene the night of the murders. Police have released this sketch. and would like to hear from anyone who has seen these three individuals.
And to Norm's sensibility, somebody saying, hey, the big boss wants you to stop making jokes about that murderer.
Yeah.
Norm is like, no.
Well, that covers the main developments in the OJ Simpson case this week. And after all, other important things are going on in the world. Now more OJ Simpson. When Simpson trial juror Gina Rodborough returned home this week, her little girls were delighted to have her back. And no wonder. She lets him get away with murder.
And I love the whole, and of course, you know Norm, what he would do.
Meanwhile, this week, OJ took girlfriend Paula Barbieri to see the erotic murder mystery Jade.
He would tell the joke, and then he would stare you down through the television.
Yeah.
Like, try that on for size.
Yeah.
Other moviegoers took the couple's presence in stride, though they did become uncomfortable when OJ repeatedly shouted out, "You call that a stabbing? That's..."
Something no one else could get away with.
Yeah, and
you would look like such an asshole.
The LA District Attorney's Office has given Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden bonuses of over $10,000 for, quote, lengthy hard time duty, unquote, in the OJ Simpson case. A spokesman for the DA said that the prosecutor's bonuses would have been even higher, except for the fact that they let a killer go free.
Yeah.
And then you can just see his eyes on fire and that grin, and he's going to hold it there, and he knows he's going to lose his job.
Yeah.
He's going to lose his job over this.
And in Brentwood, OJ himself was spotted manning a lemonade stand with his daughter, Sydney. Asked by reporters why sales were so poor, OJ replied, "Beats me," and then he went back to cutting lemons with a giant knife. A down-and-out OJ Simpson, depressed that all of his money-making ideas have failed, has decided to go back to doing what he does best, killing people. A new development in the OJ Simpson civil trial this week. According to sworn testimony, Nicole Brown Simpson had told her therapist that she was afraid of getting beaten by OJ Simpson. Asked why he didn't report this earlier, the therapist said, "I was afraid of getting beaten by OJ Simpson." Well, more OJ Simpson news. On Friday, the Juice officially endorsed Bill Clinton for president, adding, quote, "I'd like to help him any way I can." To which the president replied, "Well, there is one thing."
And the word I'm assuming that it came down, hey, lay off the OJ stuff, because Norm would do at the time like 5 OJ jokes in a row.
In Los Angeles this week, the defense suffered a setback in the second OJ trial when Simpson was ordered to turn over a secret videotape, which lawyers say contains proof of his guilt. What's on the tape? The first OJ trial. Finally this week, lawyers in the new O.J. Simpson trial actually found a prospective juror who claims to know nothing about O.J. Simpson, the murders, or the first trial, and who told the court, quote, "I don't even know when it started or ended." Unfortunately, the man had to be disqualified when it was learned that he had been a juror in the first O.J. trial. O.J. Simpson was in a different courtroom this week, attempting to regain custody of his 2 children. In order to prove to the court how much he loves his kids, O.J. pointed out, quote, "Hey, they're still alive, aren't they?" Also this week, a California newspaper revealed that OJ Simpson was awarded custody of his children mainly because a court-ordered psychological test showed that he is a loving father. It should be noted, however, that the same test also showed that he was a loving husband. Our top story tonight comes from the OJ Simpson civil trial, where this week it was revealed that in his first interview with police, Simpson had refused to take a lie detector test. His reason? It detects lies. In a unanimous verdict this week, a Santa Monica jury found O.J. Simpson liable for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, awarding the plaintiffs damages of $8.5 million. The announcement of the verdict came toward the end of President Clinton's annual State of the Union address, and to many observers, completely overshadowed the event. Even the president was distracted during his speech, waiting to hear exactly how much it costs to kill your wife. More bad news for O.J. Simpson. This week, a Los Angeles court ordered him to turn over his Heisman Trophy to the Goldman family. In addition, the same court may order Simpson to surrender a coffee mug inscribed, "World's Greatest Husband."
The other thing he did, which was completely fearless, is if you look at him on the ESPYs.
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? What a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case... all bets are off.
Have you ever met Olmeyer since then?
Don Olmeyer I met once, after he fired me.
Yeah.
So he explained it to me, what happened, but he did it all with sports stuff, like you said, man, you see, you're the number 3 hitter, but now you're going to be number 8. And then later on, Ken Griffey will show up. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Ken Griffey will show up. Ken Griffey will show up. Ken Griffey will show up.
I'll put it in sports terms why you got fired. You were fucking with OJ too much. That's exactly why you were fired, man.
Well, I don't know.
That's his buddy.
Yeah, it's his buddy.
One of his bosses was friends with a murderer.
Yeah, it's his buddy.
Yeah, well, that's why you got canned.
I mean, it cost him his job at Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
We got the word came down, you can't book Norm Macdonald anymore. And it came from the top and from Don Olmeyer. Funniest guy to ever be on that show, and he's going to lose his job.
You had been fired, you'd lost your job at Saturday Night Live on the Weekend Update. Because those people didn't have the guts to stand by you. Because those people wouldn't know funny if it bit them in the ass.
Yeah.
And
he was doing things that really were brave, and he paid the price for it.
So now they bring him back to guest host on SNL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Norm Macdonald.
You were kind of musing on stage in your introduction about what had happened, since you obviously weren't funny enough to be on the show, but now you're suddenly funny enough to host the show.
If I wasn't funny then, how could I be funny now? Right, and then you went on to demonstrate.
And I'm going to butcher this, but he kind of came out, he's like, people know I got fired from this show, so now they got me back hosting.
Thank you very much. You're very kind. In the, what's that? Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is my name. When the people here asked me to do the show, I gotta say, I felt kind of weird, I don't know if you remember this, but I used to actually be on this show, I used to do the Weekend Update news routine. You remember that? And, that's where I did the make-believe news jokes, That was me, right? So then, a year and a half ago, right, I had a sort of a disagreement with the management at the NBC. I wanted to keep my job, Right? And they felt the exact opposite. So you see, they fired me because they said that I wasn't funny, you know? Now with most jobs, I could have had a hell of a lawsuit on my hands for that, but see, this is a comedy show. So they got me, you know, you don't want it. But now, this is the weird part, right? It's only a year and a half later, and now they asked me to host the show. So I wondered, I go, hey, wait a second here. Hey! I go, how did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so damn funny? It was inexplicable to me, because a year and a half, let's face it, is not enough time for a dude to learn how to be funny. Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, you know, well, you'll see later. But okay, so let's recap. The bad news is, I'm still not funny. The good news is, the show blows.
I remember when I was doing that, and you can hear it if you listen to it, but the writers booed during that, you know.
I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, you know, well, you'll see later.
That's what he opened up with, and I know that wasn't approved.
Or so the Germans would have us believe.